Hello again, my Gnomies, and thanks for joining us again here on the MT and Me. For those of you who might be wondering why I always call you my Gnomies, there's a very good reason for that, and I thought I'd share that with you. It all goes back about 3 years maybe to a moment that ended up being immortalized in a Facebook short. This particular model of MT was designed to sleep 6 to 7 people, which would be probably 2 on the jackknife in the back, 2 in this area up here.
Probably 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Because that was the king size.
And 1, maybe 2 kids in this area right here.
They never said what size people.
That's right. It's designed to sleep 12 gnomes.
We heart gnomes.
Line them up. Love gnomes. I love gnomes. Carry a bunch of them with you in this MT. So anyway.
Just watch out for those hats.
Yeah. Don't point it at. Gotta be sure you watch out for those pointed hats. And that, my Gnomies, is why you are my Gnomies. And I love you. And now that we've got all that out of the way, let's get down to some MT and me business. Huh, Gnomies? Hello again, and welcome back to the MT and Me. Well, out here in the Equinox today, as you can see, and it's a bit chilly out here, so I'm kind of bundled up against the cold, but the cold is a bit of the problem and something we want to try to do something about today. I have mentioned before that I have a problem here in the Equinox with something called a blend port or a blend door that is part of the heating and air conditioning system. This door, basically, whenever you turn your thermostat control on the console here in the car, from the blue to the red, from the cold to the hot, it adjusts a small motor that moves this blend door. And that mixes your air flowing over either the cooling coils, as in the air conditioner, or the heating coils, as in the heater. And that lets you adjust your temperature. Well, there's a known problem here with these early model Equinoxes, and some of the later models too, I think. Not just Equinoxes, but some Chevys in general. They had a bad design on their early blend doors, and sometimes that little motor would develop too much torque in one direction or the other if you set it to an extreme, and it could snap the shaft on one end of that blend door. Well, when it did, the door would simply flop down. And when it flopped down, you basically had cooling air all the time. It has to work upwards in its position in order to let the hot air through. Now, that's not a problem in the summertime when you want cool air, fresh air from the outside, and air conditioning. But in the wintertime, when you're looking for some warm air, it's a problem. Because you don't have heat, you don't have a defroster, you don't have warm air. And although it's not bitter cold here in the south where I live, it's cold enough. And I've already had a few mornings that I sure could have used a defroster. But I didn't have one, so I had to do without. Now, what I want to do today is take our handy dandy little inspection camera here that we've used before on Pearl and try to go inside the heater baffle container here on the Equinox and maybe see what's going on inside with that blending door. There is a hole already, a small hole in the side of the compartment. Someone has worked on this before to no avail, obviously, because they didn't fix it. But they tried, and they did drill a small hole. So we're going to go in through that hole with our examination camera here and see what we can see inside, if anything, and maybe see if there's any way to fix that door, or at least push it up and brace it in the up position so that I can get some hot air here during the winter time. So let's get down in the floorboard with the camera and see what we can see. Now, you are not going to be able to see a whole lot here, simply because I can't get a camera in this cramped space. I've removed the glove box already. This right here is the small motor that normally operates this entire system, okay? And this part here is designed to fit over the end of the shaft. So, or maybe it's this part. I don't know. One end or the other does that. I'd have to look and see to be sure. Doesn't matter because it doesn't work. All right. You can put the motor there, and the motor works fine. You can adjust it, but it's got nothing to turn. So, we're going to see if I can get this camera probe inside this hole and see what we can see. It's going to be easier said than done. First, I got to get up here and find the hole. There it is. Okay, well, I can actually see inside here. Those panels you see are these doors that we're talking about. There are several of them. They not only direct heat and cold, but they also help the air to either go to the top vents or bottom vents or defroster, or any combination of the above. So there are several of these to channel air around inside this baffle that we're inside with the camera. My question here is, what are we going to be able to see as far as anything that might be broken or anything that might possibly be fixable? Let's look. I can't tell if this thing is in place or not. Can't really tell what that piece is right there either. Whatever it is, it looks out of place. Hard to say, since I don't really know exactly what I'm looking at here. Now the thing is, I don't really see any broken parts here, unless that is something broken. Can't really tell what that is, can you? But it doesn't really look like it should be where it is. Now, that's a tough thing to say when I don't know what it is or where it should be. It just doesn't look like it's in the right place. So I don't see anything in here that really looks broken, except for that strange black thing just laying there. And it doesn't look broken, it just looks kind of out of place. So I'm not sure I know any more than I knew when I started this. Pull this out for a moment and just see if I can put my hand in there. I just don't have, this hole is not, it's about maybe an inch across. So it's just not enough room to get in there and really probe around. So I'm apparently not going to be able to get in there based on this information and fix my heater vent, at least not at this point. But maybe a closer study of this little video will give me a better shot. Because you see, this little rascal is recording. In fact, what is on the screen here is parts of what you're seeing as far as my inserts here go. So it'll give me a full look at what's going on in there, and maybe on a bigger screen I can study it a little bit better. I don't know if it's going to make any difference or not. But I do know I sure would like to have a little bit of heat here in this Equinox on these cold December and the upcoming January and February mornings, which promise to be even colder. Brr. Okay. Now, first of all, it's good to be setting up. Trying to cram myself underneath the dashboard in this compact SUV is certainly not fun. But things aren't made to be accessible. I really hope I can figure out a way to adjust that vent in some form or fashion. I'm not fully interested in repairing it, in that I don't really care if I get it hooked up to where I can use the control on the dashboard and make the little motor move the vent like it's supposed to. Oh, that'd be great if I can do that. But if I can't, that's also great too. I'll settle for being able to get under there with my fingers and manually move it between hot and cold whenever I need to. That would be just great. Like I've said before, this is a used car. It's a 2006 model. So if I can't get that part fixed, then I understand. Now here's the real clincher. If you really want to get in there and fix it properly, you can buy another one of those blend doors that's much better built and reinforced so that it won't twist apart again. You get one for about 40, 50 bucks, something like that. But if you want to put it in, you have to tear the entire dashboard out of this car, all the way down to the firewall. Everything has to come out to get to that heater system, because it is at the very bottom in the back against the firewall, and everything else is built on top of it and in front of it. If you go to a dealer or a mechanic who's willing to take that job on, first you got to find one of those. But anyway, if you go to someone, they're going to charge you at least $1,000 in labor to do that. Maybe even more, to replace a $40 part. If you do it yourself, it's an experience. There's plenty of how-to DIY instructions available on YouTube for it. I'm not going to tackle it, though, because I don't have that kind of mechanical experience. And plus, I have a feeling that, how do I put this? Once you were to go in and pull this dashboard out, even if you put it back in exactly as it was, completely properly, which is questionable to begin with, but if you were able to do that, it still would never be quite the same. You're going to have some noises and rattles and things that you don't like that just would be irritating. Probably just as irritating as having the heat and air stuck like they are. So I don't think this job is ever going to lead to pulling the entire dash assembly out of this Equinox in order to fix one little door. Great design work there, Chevy. I hope you've gotten it better since then. Although from some things I've read online, that still may not be the case. I don't know. At this very moment, if I could just get a finger in there and flip that door and, I don't know, prop it up with a toothpick or something, I'd be happy. I'd be tickled to death because I'd have some hot air. So I'm going to think along those lines and see if I can't come up with something here in the near future to perhaps get myself a little bit of heat on these cold mornings in the Equinox. If you have ideas, I really, really need to hear them here. I don't care how crazy or far-fetched they are. Everything will be listened to and considered. Trust me on this, okay? Because I really would like to get a little heat here going on. So if you've ever had something similar, perhaps in an older Chevrolet vehicle, I think Tahoe's had the same heating system, and a lot of Chevy trucks also may have. So if you've ever had a broken blend door and figured out an economical way to fix it without tearing your entire car or truck up to do it, I would certainly like to hear about it. Please comment here on this video. Let me know what you know. Maybe we can get a discussion going and figure something out. Because like I said, it's just beginning to get cold here. It's going to be colder. And I would certainly like a little bit of heat in the car to get me through that. So please comment below. Let me know what you think, okay? So here's hoping I can get some heat or the winter won't be too cold. Either way would work for me. Now, I want to wrap up this week with a little more touch of the holidays since we're less than 2 weeks away from Christmas here. So I thought I'd share with you about a little 3.5-minute summary of my town's recent Christmas parade. case you didn't catch it, watching, the theme of this year's parade was Cowboy Christmas. What better way to wrap it up than with the Christmas lit Conestoga wagons? On that note, we're going to fire up our Christmas lights and ride off into the sunset for this week's episode. Thank you, my Gnomies, for joining us once again here on the MT and Me. If you're not a subscriber, hey, we are at 300. Yeah, I'd love to go more. Keep clicking subscribe, people. Love you for it. And if you like this video, give me a good thumbs up too, okay? Thanks again for watching, always. And I hope your holiday season is going well. We'll be back with a little more Christmas cheer and maybe a few other things next week. Till then, I'm Russ. I do love you, my Gnomies. And we will talk later.